just closed out a record month, clocking in around that kind of $500,000 area. Where your attention goes, success flows.
Best thing I ever did. If you're a business owner or someone that's high level management and you need to, your brain's constantly with clutter, brain dump, get in there, and it's honestly the best thing. It's, you just get so clear in what you do.
Dale is a father, a leader, and a pioneer of modern day workplace culture in the trade sector. You could repurpose your alcohol budget into purchasing a sauna, couldn't you?
Certainly can, mate.
What you've built is a mammoth effort. What sacrifices did you have to make?
Yeah, well, the first one we've already touched on is...
Is there $1 million month on the horizon?
To be honest, I don't think it's far off.
Welcome to the show, Dale.
Thanks for having me, mate.
It's a pleasure. Today, I'm going to pick apart some of your quotes, some of the statements I've heard you say, and also I'd like to get your opinion on some others as well from various people around the business community.
Mm-hmm.
Let's kick it off. Attitude is the difference maker, shaping how I attack life's challenges. Tell me more.
Yes, that one is, it's interesting, that one. It's just been something that I've been able to just attach to and have some success for my whole life, basically. So I am a very optimistic person. I'm very outgoing. I'm very bubbly. My brain's wired differently to be a very positive person, and I think when you kind of summarise all that, it's basically my attitude, I feel like. So attitude, mindset, it's all the same thing, but I put it down to the attitude. So the way I've been able to, approach the sporting life through my 20s, business early. We started the business when I was about 25. I met my wife at 19. So just, early family life also. And I think it's important to have a really good attitude, because if you don't have an attitude, you don't have a mindset, then everything can crumble. So it's something that I really, really try to hone in on, that skill in particular. And as a trait of mine, if I have a really good attitude, then I know that it's going to hold me in good stead for no matter what I do, whether it's business, family, friends, no matter what it is, a good attitude beats everything. So
I was only talking yesterday with a business partner of mine about the potential conflict or the downside of charisma and that attitude towards being overly optimistic, or the ability to be able to potentially oversell the dream. Mm-hmm. The conversation we had was around, we expanded around the country and we pushed our managing directors, our business partners, probably a little bit too hard, not in the sense of things that were unreasonable for them to do, but probably we sold such an intense dream that they couldn't say no, or that they couldn't, we couldn't see the potential downsides. Do you find that your extreme optimism or extreme attitude and positivity has some flaws?
It's like you've been seeing into my life the last few months. That's a personal one, that one. Certainly, yeah. Certainly it does have its flaws at times, and I think having really good support network around you can make you a bit level-headed. And sometimes, so using business for an example, I've got some really good managers and support staff around me that I'm trying to shoot for this big dream. I'm trying to make it as clear and precise and purpose as possible, giving them milestones to be able to achieve this. But, taking on that big new project that might be a little bit ambitious for us, I've always been able to make things work. So, yes, I've got these big goals, these big ambitions. We might try a big project that is a bit out of our reach, but we always make it work. So I'm used to having that feeling of a good attitude in place. There's a good work rate there, gets me through it, and I know we'll be all right at the end. But I guess there's others, staff, and then you don't blame them, but they may not be as optimistic, or they may not have that attitude or those personality traits. So my support staff, and one in particular, and he'll know who he is, that I rebound a lot of information from, he's very good at bringing me back to that middle point. So I'll shoot for the stars, I'll run an idea by him, he brings it back a little bit to normality, and then we'll try to aim around there. So,
So you take the emotionally charged dream, and then he can bring it down to more rational,
correct.
quantifiable
That's right.
targets.
That's right. And that just that's right. And that just speaks for his mindset. He's a very precise man like that. So he deals in facts. So that brings me down to that level. And then he never obviously tries to cut my dreams and ambitions. But it's really good to have that person to, hey mate, I'm thinking about this. I like that idea. Let's maybe bring it to here, meet halfway. Great, no worries. And same with my wife too. She's a bit like that. So I want to do all these big things and all for the better of my family, obviously. Everything is for a family. It's a purpose. But she will bring me just back to here and I'm like, okay, we'll do that then.
It's probably part and parcel with, though, the rate of growth that you've had. I mean, coming off the back of I'm privy to this information because we work together, that you've just closed out a record month, clocking in around that kind of $500,000 area. Having a leader who would be a more pessimistic position or someone inclined to look more for the negatives potentially would alter the rate at which a company would grow. That would be a pretty fair assumption, wouldn't it?
Fair. I think it's just more about the conversations though. So an example, I can only speak from exact experience. So we will have these really serious and open, honest discussions because the room and the attitude is we're allowed to have that. It's, we give the floor to whether it's, we call them div heads. So whether it's our div heads, operations manager, general manager, any management in our office, and we're discussing whether it's a project or whatever goals and ambitions that I have for the business, I give them that floor to be able to have that open and honest feedback. And it's not negative, it's not good, it's not bad. It's just we're having the discussion, put it all out on the table. We'll see where it meets, and then we obviously then as a group can make that decision and go from there. And you'll find, I do find and experience most times, I'll have this big ambition, this big goal. Hey guys, let's do this. Everybody will have their discussion, put their points across, and we end up kind of leaning towards that bigger, challenging goal anyway. They probably don't realise it, but they've all just had a chat. And when we leave that room, they've all decided that we are going towards that challenge and they've made that decision. So, which is obviously great for me. It's great for the feedback and the support that these guys can actually have that open and honest conversation, and away we go and we get to work.
So you close the gap on reality to the dream.
Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah. But it's just giving the very early days, we've been able to give the staff, management in particular, just no like question or any feedback that you give. It's not wrong or right. It's you have open floor. You're allowed to give that feedback. I won't be negative towards it. It's an attitude thing. It's my attitude. I've always been able to bridge between that. I'm the owner. Obviously, I can have all these big goals, but I do care and value what you have to say. So, giving them that responsibility and giving them that option to be able to give me direct feedback, I welcome that. I really, really do. And the guys do, and we obviously are now better for it because we're vibing. So
not everything's sitting on your shoulders.
No.
Be ruthless with your time. Where your attention goes, success flows. What do you mean by that?
Yes. So this is really prevalent for the last year. So about a year ago, we lost a pretty big contract. Things weren't just going as smooth as we would like. And I had to make some really big decisions. Even like personally, there was some distractions out of work, and things weren't going as nicely as I would have liked. So I had to like really get deep in some goal setting, which I haven't really done in the past before. So I had to set some clear goals and some guidelines. Okay, what am I trying to achieve in life? What do I want personally? What do I want from my family? What do I want out of the business? And when you kind of get yourself in a room, I've got a sauna, so I really, really maximise that. And so when I'm in there, I'm able to think so clearly. So about a year ago, I put some goals, some plans in place. I said in 10 years' time, I would like to do like this, this and this. So there was some family goals in there, some personal goals in there, and there was the business. Then you reverse engineered that, and I said, okay, if I wanted to achieve these things, what does that look like? Started doing a lot of like listening to podcasts, learning, intentional learning about how to achieve those things. And it's the common theme. It always comes up is how the hyper successful people use their time. So and you listen to any business podcast, it's all about similar messages, but it's always there's a mindset or attitude in there, and there's something to do with their time. So I just felt like personally, ignoring work and ignoring family, if I can personally work on that attitude and make sure it's in the right place and it's towards the right things, and time-wise that I'm spending time in the right areas, having the right responsibilities in place, success will follow. And in the last 8 months, at the start of the year, I gave up alcohol for 6 months. I was absolute dropless, no alcohol for 6 months. Best thing I ever did. You really don't know how much alcohol affects you until you go 6 months clean. And I was always one for a big drink. I love to have a bloody good time. And part of the sport, footy and friends, I was always the last one at the party. I wanted to be the life of the party. So I had that for 10 years. So it was the first time I'd really gone away from that and looked at that. No, it's not self-help. It's just like working on yourself. Let's use that. So a bit of work on yourself. So I went, no alcohol 6 months. Then you go, okay, so if I'm not doing that, where's my time getting spent now? And it went to two things, went to family and it went to the business. I didn't really lose any friends, but you just naturally lose touch with friends like that that aren't in it, whether it's your circle or your everyday life. You just lose touch with those people. And then in 6 months, so it was July, I had my first drink, and you look back and you review. Family life, kids' life was the best it had ever been. And business had just, we've almost 2x revenue, doubled in staff, doubled and a bit in staff, doing projects and having such clear direction and goals and at work it's never been more exciting place to be. So when you review it, you go, okay, I spent all that time family, best it's ever been. Tick, this is a success. A business, all I was doing is business for 6 months. Look what we've been able to achieve. That's where my time was spent. Huge tick. What was holding me back for the last 10 years? And you can just really clearly see what was holding you back. And so it's a really clear message that, if you spend time on things, success flows. And I was able to see that and experience that really quickly. So
I'm someone that loves to have a cold one as well. And I'm not here to save face for alcohol or social drinking because I've gone through the same kind of bouts, and there's definitely a time and a place to hold yourself to a higher standard. But I think the important takeaway from that was that it's not the consumption itself, whatever that may be, it's where your focus and attention was. Because by taking something like that, an activity out, whatever that activity is, you're able to then hold more mental capacity to be able to do things that truly mattered and then be able to go back.
That's right, yeah. And so, I don't want to say that I don't like drinking because I still love it. I value it more now because I don't do it that often. So I actually really cherish that time with, whether it's mates, a Christmas party with the guys. I'm a big cricket lover. So the cricket this year, it's always something that I pencil into the calendar. So you actually appreciate those times more than the standard just tradie everyday rut that I was in, and I wasn't feeling negative. I was having a great time. I was really positive and had a great attitude. Everything was great in life. You just don't realise how much it affects you though. You're having 2-3 beers every day of the week. Then you'd have, if you're only having 3 beers every night on the weekend or 4 beers every night on the weekend, you've still done like half a carton over the weekend and you haven't realised. So like you said, when you remove, when your attention's not to that, and your attention goes to other things, it really did flourish. And it's hard to go back now. It is really hard to go back. And I barely drink during the week. The family life, it's the best it's ever been. So time's going to be there. Time's with business. Time is with my close, really, really close friends that, you can use to have as many friends in the world, but now you can count them on one hand. That your close mates.
You only have time to catch up with one of them a month.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, if I can, any message out there, most definitely that when you put your time and effort into something, you'll be surprised how quickly you can get that like instant gratification and that instant feedback. Because I received instant feedback from wife, just better feeling around the house within a few weeks. It was literally within weeks, and that goes, okay, this is a good feeling. I'm going to keep doing this. 6 months later, wow, what an amazing feeling. Business, the exact same thing. Instant gratification on the results. I was a better leader. There's just so many positives to come from it where you spend time, and it just makes it really clear if you want to be successful, then pick some priorities and what you want to achieve in life and go for it.
Awesome. I don't know how to frame this. You've sent me some selfies.
Yeah. I like to have fun still.
Said sauna.
Yeah.
Tell me about what do we call it? The think tank, the hot box. Tell me about the sessions in the hot box, because I've done very similar things. I really enjoy it.
I honestly think if I wasn't being a business owner, I would start a sauna company and sell saunas. I love saunas that much that I would be a salesman for them, honestly. Just what it does to your body, the feeling that you get from it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say all the good repercussions of the actual feelings that it does to your body.
You're not going to quote the brochure for us.
No, not at all. But I'm just saying from a personal experience, I go in there and I do a thing called brain dumping. So it's a form of journaling. It's like journaling, but for me, I find I call it brain dumping. So I'm on my phone and I'll put purposeful notes in the note app, and it's different from journaling because I find when obviously journaling, you're getting things out of your head. You may not actually go back to them and action them. It's just getting ideas and whatever's clutter in your head onto paper or onto your phone, and it kind of just sits there. This is a little bit different and a bit more purposeful. So I brain dump anything that's clutter or anything that's in my head as reminders, put it in my phone. I've got a really clear setup in my phone, and then I obviously put them into action, emails, to tasks, to-do lists, etc. But that's my time in the sauna, and I feel like getting that nice little peace and quiet really gets the creative juices flowing in there. And I'll sauna 4 or 5 times during a week. I do it that much. I do feel like it's been able to give me a lot of purpose and clarity with what I do during work day, because you know how chaos things can be, especially business owner and family when you can combine the two. So I'll mostly do it either the first thing in the morning at 5 a.m. or 8:30 at night time once the kids are asleep. Wife might be watching something on Netflix and I'll go on the sauna and just everything out.
You time.
Bit of me time. But yes, I highly recommend for anybody I've had a few friends actually hit me up about it too. I highly recommend getting one. And if you're a business owner or someone that's high level management and you need to, your brain's constantly with clutter, brain dump, get in there, and it's honestly the best thing. It's you just get so clear in what you do.
You could repurpose your alcohol budget into purchasing a sauna, couldn't you?
I certainly can, mate. Certainly can.
Life's luxury is the kingdom you've built together, finding paradise in the everyday moments at home. Tell me about this.
Yes, so this has just come from what I've touched on basically for the last year. So you don't really know. I'll rephrase that again. As I guess as men or business owners, our priorities probably don't align as well as we think they should or they do. So an example of that is I was so business owner focused. It was all about business. If I wasn't doing that and I had that little spare time went to sport because I really enjoyed my footy growing up. So I had some spare time, bang, it was football. Any other extra spare time, bang, it was friends and family a little bit, but it was friends mostly. Weekends, friends, football events, etc. Then any other spare time, it's back to business. And I really just lost track of what you're trying to achieve in life and my goals and my personal goals. So it was just, but you talk to everybody and it's just funny how it's sometimes it's a bit of a default that business owners will prioritise business and they'll prioritise something else, might be even their personal health. They might just prioritise their health. And it seems like the family life always is the one that suffers the most. It's the one that always suffers. Yeah, and for me personally, it was that. It suffered a bit. Happy to admit that. And I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of business owners and fathers feel the same thing. So, when I took no alcohol from July and went clean for 6 months, it was because I was able to see that instant gratification. It was just hit home literally that this is the most important part. This is where I need to spend most of my time, and these are the reasons why I am an owner and I'm trying to create a successful company. It's because of this at home. And then so with that, because you become more clearer, I started to having more open conversations like with my wife. I never really, like as silly as it is to say, but I never really did that properly as much as I have the last year. Like our communication now is at a level that's like, I think it's really, really good. It's really positive and really healthy. And so we would, in the last few years, always we'd plan some sort of holiday. That holiday might be 6 months down the track, and all we would talk about is, I can't wait for that holiday. I can't wait to do that. I can't wait to go to Bali. I can't wait to go wherever it may be on that holiday.
It's the mentality of, I'll be happy then.
That's correct.
Like I can save my happiness until I get there, but
that's right.
The holiday and down the line.
That's right. And it's everyone feels like that. You don't realise until like somebody makes you aware of it. And I was a bit like that. And yeah, this year I've just been like, we don't need that holiday to look forward to anymore. So when I get home now and your kids race to the door to welcome you and say hello to you, and then that 2-3 hour block that you do get at home, I absolutely love it now. Like it literally, making your home your kingdom, because you get home, instant gratification, you feel fantastic. It's a great feeling coming home to your kids and your wife. We'll go out the back and we'll kick the soccer ball. We've done a lot of renovations out the back, out our house. So it's just that feeling of, I guess, being present and being content and happy with what you've got now. I never really thought of it like that we don't need to look forward to these holidays. I look forward to coming home now because home is my kingdom, and I feel great for it. It's a great feeling to have. Me and my wife have a great relationship at the moment, and the relationship with the family is fantastic. So
I think you're spot on that we can, and saying we as in we as guys and business owners as that character profile, I fall into this trap as well, but we can very easily rationalise to ourselves that we're doing this for the family when it's a selfish goal. And I do it, and I actively do it. I am conscious that there is more to life than my self-grandized goals. But I think you're spot on in that identifying that there are goals in the family, and there are almost like elements to be grateful for on the journey to get to where we're going, on the way to the destination of, like, if I can make sure that the couple hours in the afternoon or the evening is fun, enjoyable time, like that's a little piece of grateful moment that you get unconditional love from the family, whilst then waking up the next morning at 5 and going straight out to what we would consider modern day war, which is going out and, trying to kill something and bring it back home.
Yeah. But on that, like we would, if something was wrong at the business, we would do everything we could to try to fix that, or we want to make whatever system that is or anything at business, we want to make that better. I don't think too many of us do that at home. Like it wasn't until like things were negative that it was reactive. Shit, I need to make things a bit better now. Just why wasn't I having that, or why don't we have that general feeling of let's try and make home better? How can I make home better? What can I do at home that's going to improve our home life, my wife's life, and my kids' life? And I don't think that we have that feeling or that thought process enough. And funnily enough, we do. Like me and my wife have had these conversations this year. Like we literally even did like a workflow chart of these were her roles and these were my roles, and treated it like a business
job description.
Yeah, we literally did. That's it. But I'll tell you what, like it's when you come home and you know your role. and like she knows her roles, and it's towards the same goal. We're working together as a family. It's us. You'd be surprised how much better things can be. And
it's managing expectations, and it's the same thing that you do in the business as well. Taking some of those learnings back and applying them to home. The delivery method's probably a little bit different because there's conditional love versus contractual engagement. Being conditional in the home, and then employees have to be.
I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody.
Although, I mean, a marriage certificate is nonetheless still a contract, but
correct.
You get what I mean.
Yeah.
I definitely have started to open up a lot more and have those vulnerable conversations in the house. I wanted to share this one maybe so that somebody can operationalize or action this straight away. We were having some conflict recently. I really wanted an argument. I was in the mood for an argument. I had to stop, remove myself from the conversation, or just pull back from the conversation for a moment to think about what we're really trying to achieve. We're on the same team. The kids can rile you up. Again, then you end up going against each other. And the statement that I want the guys to take away, and in a moment of conflict, to bring out the statement of, what can I do to be a better husband? And that'd be a really great takeaway. Just instead of starting arguments, to pause for a moment and realign expectations, because the commercial viability to this is that a divorce is the biggest risk to the business. It's going to cost you minimum 50%. You may as well fucking sort it out.
Yeah. I would never make the mistake of comparing her to the business like that. But
I know frames that everybody can understand.
For sure. And I understand that for sure. It's just funny that we don't ever. I know this because I've talked to my mates about it. But just that feeling of how you approach and feel about your relationship or at home, it's just a funny way that we all think differently, but it's just a really funny just discussion point that it's tend to be the last thing. It's the first thing that is impacted in a negative way, but it's the last thing that we try to tend to fix. So if you can, I guess, be aware of it, and then hopefully the damage isn't done too much, and then you can try to fix it or get on top of it, at least you're on the right track.
Any effective leader knows that a company's success depends on more than just a mission. It's a company's people that carry out the mission. The guys at HubSpot say that culture is to recruiting what product is to marketing. How does culture affect the recruiting at Main?
Yes. I can comfortably say that our culture's a funny word to start with. It's a fluffy word, but there's no other word to describe it. So you have to use the word culture. Culture at Main and the vibe at Main it's at a really high level. It's a good place to be. How that affects recruiting is we've never had to openly put on Seek.
So you haven't had to advertise?
We have never had to advertise on Seek at all this whole time. We have done a couple of ads on Instagram. Weren't as lucky as we would have liked, but where all of our staff have come through is literally word of mouth or from the employees, the staff directly. And so this is, again, talk about this year. We've doubled in size this year. We've gone from 13 to 14 staff only a year ago, and we're now at the 30 mark and looking at going a little bit higher again very shortly. So this year alone, we've had 3 people come from other companies and come over to us, and they came directly from the guys themselves. Direct mates, so guys go to the gym, they go to a party, they just talk about work like you always do. It's just an easy icebreaker, and they have sold Main, sold the dream of working here to them. They've left their other jobs and they've come over to us, and that alone is one of the greatest, I guess, feedbacks that you can get. As I can try to ring up somebody and poach somebody, but that's a salesman's hat on. And it's coming from the owner, so that means absolutely nothing. So you're like, mate, come work at Main. Our culture's wicked, like our culture's great, or blah, blah, blah. When it comes from the guys directly, the staff directly, it's just so much more powerful, and their friends are going to listen to that. And we've been successful for that this year. And I just saying to you before that we've had some good feedback again this morning, just from random trades that normally grumpy trades that would talk negatively of you, and have made the comments of, "Wow, you guys are literally the best sparkies I've been on site with." So annoying cabinet makers where you've got to get in and under and doing some LED strip lighting. They can tend to be a bit grumpy and funny at times, and they're just literally the direct feedback is, you guys are the best sparkies we've worked with on site, and they're a national company. So it's some pretty good feedback to have, and I'm really proud of the boys, and I know the boys really enjoy their job and enjoy working with us.
I've hired for skill and I've hired for attitude. Now I look to hire for people with a proven track record, usually with a little bit of ambition in there as well. What are you looking for?
Yeah, we've internally hired, but internally also management have come from guys that are technicians. So it's an interesting conversation, that one, because I've had this with a few people of late. All of our management are literally electricians from the tools that, as the company has grown and scaled, their roles have just naturally progressed and are now whether half on tools or completely off the tools. So it's a very it's an unusual conversation. It's an interesting conversation to have because they are naturally hardworking because of being out in the tools. When you take that attitude and mindset into the office, they are really hardworking and they're trying their best. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation that do managements and do managers and high level managers. Technicians make really good high managers, or do you need to recruit externally to come in? We have found, I need to say this, we have found, because of the quality of people that we've had, they have met all expectations and, if anything, gone way beyond anything that I could have imagined, and singly hands down the reason that we've been able to achieve what we have achieved. I've been able to set the goals and the dreams and the structure, the org chart. I've given them the tools, and these technicians that have rose to management level are now doing the whole strategy, quoting, procurement, delivery of a job, and then to invoice that job out and chase that money. They've been fantastic, if that answers that question.
And the majority of them are qualified electricians.
Electricians.
They weren't graduate students
Not
and that
at
kind
all.
of thing.
No. So we've got 4 divisions internally. So there's fridgies in there too, by trade. But your comment is they are all tradespeople that have gone from tradespeople to management. And I feel like it's the person they are, the attributes, their attitude, their mindset, which has made them good managers and leaders.
And their understanding of how site operates probably contributes more than we know to the company's culture, because they know what's to be expected on site. They know how things should operate, as opposed to bringing, a graduate project manager in to run divisions.
Correct.
Who may have a different perspective on what the day-to-day life is actually like.
Correct, that's right. And we see those types of builders that are under the pump that will hire those types of project managers in. And, sometimes that breakdown of knowledge and the communication between what they know and how practical, how things actually happen on site, there is definitely a breakdown there. So if you've come from site, you've come from that tech background, then into management, I think that's a really good thing, as long as the person themselves has that ability, wanting to learn and wanting to get better and improve. And we're fortunate that all of our div heads are like that. So
being a great place to work can be the difference between a good company and a great company. Retaining top talent keeps them highly experienced, or keeps the team highly experienced. How do you go about retention strategies?
Yeah, so the first thing I'll say here, which is a bit of a booster, we have a 100% retention rate on 30 staff.
So you don't churn at all?
We have never, hands over heart, never had anybody leave the company. We've had every single one of those 30 that have come in.
Define quickly, though, the difference between leaving and being terminated. So there's people that have been terminated, but we haven't had anyone resign.
We've had nobody resign or nobody terminated.
Ooh.
We've had 30. We are 100% retention rate.
I've found a potential area that you may need to develop in future.
And there's a number of reasons for that. But at the start, it's to start with, we've hired friends and mates that just wanted to be on the journey with me, and we were having a great time. We were just a bunch of young guys enjoying ourselves, having a great time and learning along the way. Great. Got to a point there, then we actually needed staff. So, you use labour hire or recruiting, whatever it may be. More people then will come in, and we've been fortunate. Again, I would always say the word fortunate, because we've been fortunate of the people that have come into our four walls and haven't left. And there's been times where if we've had to let go of people. So when we lost that contract a year ago, we kept everybody. We'll discuss this about the consequences of that business decision later, but it was a decision that I made and a reason for that decision. And now, a year down the track, yes, it probably cost us a little bit financially, but we've been able to keep, we've got 30 staff now, and all you have to do is look at a Facebook group from whatever trade, the amount of people that are trying to hire and get good people in. It's a common theme out there that people can't get good people into their workforce. And I think that risk that I took with everybody has now paying off, because 100% retention, everybody wants to be there, and we just had our quarterlies, so as part of internal process, I guess, helps retention. We do a quarterly performance review, and every single one of those people are staying and happy and want to be here for longer. So,
and that's a personal performance review. So each individual team member is being reviewed and 360 reviewed. It's not a company's performance review, is it? That's
right. And so we've gone the next level. I probably should have said this before, for the culture. So I saw that as an issue that, whether retention or getting good people in, we were progressive about it. And I'll plug him here. So Matt from Driven From Within, he specialises in people and culture specifically. That's what his role is. So we got Matt in for a year and to work on the people and culture aspect of the business. And that, for a lot of people listening, that's just the fluffy words like your company statements. Values is another thing. So putting values on a wall. We did it really differently and intentionally, and something that I've always been able to do is bridge that gap between, an owner and being a tech, and that it has to be practical for our guys, for the team. So what we did was we created 5 values, 5 mantras to those values, and 3 behaviours underneath. So now what happens is every performance review, the quarterly reviews, they are reviewed on those 15 behaviours, those 5 values and 5 mantras. So what that means is that what we're trying to achieve inside Maine is that we couldn't give a shit how good you are as a tradesperson, how good your skill level is. I couldn't give a fuck how good you are as far as that skill level. We want to hire 30 great people that meet our 15 behaviours and standards. And if we can do that and have 30 good people like that, we can teach you your trade, we can teach you the skill level, we can teach you this and that, but what we can't teach you is that attitude. And so in 10 years' time, we're going to be more sustainable as a company with 30 guys, 35 guys, whatever it may be, that worked and abide by that standard, than having 30 guys that are great tradespeople. Yeah, that's great, but you don't want to work next to that guy. When things get under the pump and things are busy out on site and there's just negative and conflict because you can't get along because that guy's a wanker. So we will, and I will be.
But everyone's been there with that guy next to you.
But that's probably to summarise our the culture and the vibe at our place. So we call it internally people. It's our people and culture part of the business. It's the people and culture element of our framework, and so. Yeah, the guys have 15 behaviours that they get measured on, and they don't need to know every single one of them. I don't expect that. They don't need to know the values either. It's just that it's not left on a wall and left by chance. We implement that in day-to-day work, and how that happens in day-to-day work is the quarterly reviews. You're measured on your behaviours so that a first year can score the same as a tradesman that's been in the game for 10 years. You get scored on your behaviour. It's the same thing rather than that skill level. So
the core values, they can sound pretty airy-fairy to the guys that are running a small team. I really found it hard to get my team on board until I changed the wording, and particularly around the first one. So our first core value, you kind of think about them and you go, what do we want? Positivity, communication, these buzzwords. We re-spun it to fucking smile so that we could gain their attention, gain the team's attention and their undivided attention into it, as if for their curiosity to go, what do you actually mean by that? Because it's pretty aggressive. If you're saying we're going to talk about company values and you open up with first one's fucking smile, they're like, okay, I'm listening. I get it. I want to know, how did you actually introduce them?
Yeah, it's tricky. Anything when you're talking values or core values, I just put yourself in their shoes, which is easily done. Sometimes they probably couldn't even care or don't listen. Everybody works for different reasons. Everybody wants to be a part of something. Anything in life, a football team, a sporting team, a business, whatever it may be, everyone has different reasons as to why they're there. So trying to keep it simple yet relatable, like your value where it was catchy, is probably the first and the most important thing. So our values are really, really simple and our mantras are really simple, and the 3 behaviours under that are really simple. It's just that we made sure that it is as relative and relatable to them out on site as possible, and that if we ever needed to bring that up or pull somebody up on it, we can just easily go, bang, there it is. And then having that in the performance reviews obviously helps. But you're right, if it's left on a wall, like a lot of companies do, if it's put up on the walls, looks great when you walk into the door, but I'm sure if you ask somebody out on site, on the project site, hey mate, what's your values or what are your core values? They're like, what? We've got core values? So that was a reason why we didn't do them internally. That was a reason why I didn't want to just create them and just cause.
All right, let's shift gears a bit and maybe lift the skirt on your lifestyle empire. So the business is growing rapidly. You have record months, month on month. Do you have time for any other plays?
That's interesting. I'm naturally, as we talked about before, I'm an optimistic person, and I have big audacious goals.
Which is exactly why the question was planted there.
Yeah. No, so this is exactly where my wife or one of my best mates comes in and goes, oh, do you really need to? Let's come back here and work like from that point. Bring me a bit more grounded. There's a few things that I'm always thinking about what to do next. I think I've already got a bit of an exit strategy for the business anyway. So we're setting it up. It's setting it up so it can. I will always be a part of it. I never want to let go of that. I will be a part of it. I'll be able to. Already now have created time to spend more time with, whether it's family, kids, my wife, catching up. I now do a fortnightly catch up with my mother that I've not done in the past. So yeah, it's a funny one, but I am someone that can never just sit still. So my mind will always be trying to think about something, or I'm always busy. So that's why that sauna helps. But this spare time that I'll have with my family, which has been obviously fantastic, I will need something that will challenge me, and I've got a few things in mind.
Is there $1 million month on the horizon?
To be honest, I don't think it's far off. We've got a few things in the pipeline right now that we should hear back from pretty soon, and it's in a really good place. Things are in a really good place.
I think we could call this now part 1 of a 2-part series. So we've got the $500,000 month underway.
Yeah,
we're going to wait 12 weeks. 16 weeks, come back. We're going to do, part 2, and then you can allude to some of the things that are
I think so.
in the pipeline.
I think so.
Excellent,
I
cool.
think so.
Because we don't want to disclose anything that cannot yet be disclosed.
No. All that I will say is that I'm just super happy so happy with what the div heads are achieving in their divisions. It's really nice to see that you've set something up and it's based on its systems, but the people in those systems and in those roles, and each division is seeing its own independent workflow and its own success from what the guys are driving, which is I'm still a part of that. But yeah, when you sit back and I'm able to do something like this, and I know that the div heads, they've got everything under control, and also having things in the pipeline and working on that strategy and thinking like they're business owners and thinking like that division is their own. It's a really pleasing thing that we're in a good place and are going to be hopefully here and sustainable for a long time.
I've got 2 words for you. Mm-hmm. Empowering people.
Yes. So that is actually our purpose statement. Now, that's a tricky one. So this goes back to a year ago where I was kind of, as a company, we were a bit lost and going through the motions. So no way that was a negative. It's just that, we lost a contract. We still had work, but it was really like, okay, where are we going with this? And me personally, it was like, where am I going with this? So it all kind of happened around the same time as, starting to wean off the alcohol. There was a few things that weren't obviously going to plan. And what I did was, which I haven't really done ever, to be honest, but it's one of the best things that we can do is, set goals for yourself. So I did a lot of podcasts, don't do reading, but I also listen to audibles and podcasts, almost the same thing. And I had a 10-year plan, which was a bit of personal goals, family goals, and business goals. So 3 things that they all obviously interconnect. There's all a common theme. And then I thought, okay, I want to achieve these things. How do I achieve those things? Reverse engineer it, and you come back to the present, and there's, okay, I've got a long page list of things that I need to sort quickly if I want to achieve that big, audacious goal. I want that. How do I get that? I've got to start working on these and setting some plans in place. And it's something that's really, it is really powerful, but yet so simple when I've got a quarterly goal, put all of these things in place, moving the needle forward to the next one. These are my year goals, and these are my 2-year vision. This is the big 10-year vision. That's the big hairy one that we're trying to achieve. And when you sit back and you reverse engineer, there's the 2-year plan, there's the year plan, there's the quarterly. Okay, what do I need to do first? And the first thing that I literally was stuck on, which I got feedback with, is I couldn't answer what main service group do. Who is main service group? Mate, we're a bunch of electricians, fridgies. We do some work, we do some trade work, and okay, well, what are you trying to do, Dale? Why are you working? Mate, I don't know. You just can't answer these questions.
That's where you need to go. Yeah. You need to go deep, and you need to unpack exactly where you want to go, so that you understand what the purpose is for the business that you're building.
That's right. And then that's where the very first thing that we did. That was the first thing was, okay, I need to work out who we are and what am I trying to achieve and why am I doing it. And so we created a thing called our main framework, and it's like our Bible, it's like our standard that in 10 years' time, our main framework is the reason and the success behind what we do. It's the purpose. It gives us our direction and our vision, what we're trying to do. Framework's made up of 4 elements: company statements, our strategies, the systems, and our people and culture. But the very first one, so the company statements, I still couldn't answer, and I couldn't work out who we are, what we do and why we do it. And then so when I sat down there and I got deep, real deep in the sauna and worked out, okay, this is where the magic happens. That's right, where it happens. And so I worked out pretty quickly what we wanted to do, and we already were doing that in a way, but it wasn't written really easy. So our mission statement and what we worked out was purposeful partnerships, to deliver packaged services, and to provide a meaningful impact. I was like, great, okay, I know exactly what we're trying to do here. So that was what we're trying to achieve, our mission statement, but then our purpose. So why are we doing this? What's the point of it? And then when you kind of really summarise everything, the last 6 years, we've been able to get to the place, and I've been able to have so much fun because the people that I work with. So I work with good friends, friends of friends, cousins, people that I know that have come into the business. Like, just, we kind of all know each other. Now, that other people may think that's a negative. We have been able to make it work, and it's a strength of ours. And I will 100% always go to bat for this, that we make it work. Other companies may not be able to do this. They may not be able to work with friends and family and stuff. For us, it is a strength, and we make it work. And so that was how we created our purpose statement, which was empowering people through connections. And so what that means is that we're coming to work, and the reason that we're coming to work is to work alongside people that we care about, working alongside people that you want to be around, and that there's a greater connection outside of work. And that's the purpose of it. That's the reason why we come to work. So in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, if these guys, the people have left or whatever it may be, and we're walking down the street, I can stop and have a conversation with these guys, or we catch up at the pub or something, and there's still that connection there because it's always been greater than work. It's been bigger than work. And same with our builders or clients or other tradespeople on site, whatever path we cross on a trade site. You could do the exact same thing where you can be at a pub, walking down the street, and there's that project manager, or there's that owner. One of the guys could, start their own business, which is great, and I would support that. And he's been able to get work from someone that he's met on site because there's a greater connection, there's a bigger purpose than just coming to work every day. So it's something that, I will always try to hone in on, and it doesn't have to be best mates. It's just that, we're coming to work because we're getting around really great people. We're making some really good connections. The team is making really good connections, and there's a bit of a method and purpose as to why they're doing that and why we're trying to achieve that mission, our goals.
What you've built is a mammoth effort, because it's not just the front-loaded quantifiable data. It's all of the intangible elements that go along with it. That is encumbrance in that whole phrase of culture. What sacrifices did you have to make?
Yeah, well, the first one we've already touched on is family. That's always the first one that gets impacted the most, and you don't really realise it until, not until it's too late, but you don't really see the impact that it has until whether something happens or you're forced to look at and review and reflect on what's going on. So I would say that has definitely been something that's been impacted the most. And so I've done everything possible now to be able to set the business up in a way, set the goals up in a way, and create time freedom that I can put my valuable time into the things that I care about the most. So first and foremost, that is the family. So the reason that I'm doing all this and trying to provide, it's for the family. So early days, when you're trying to build this, and I know that every business owner or tradesperson feels this, that you're working all day and you wear all of the hats. That's the first thing that happens. You start a business, listen to anybody that talks, it's the same thing, that you're a great tradesperson, not necessarily a great business owner. So you're wearing all the hats in the early days, trying to make shit work. Highly recommend getting a business coach early to be able to just help navigate that chaos time, because it is chaos and it's going to be chaos for a long time. It is honestly depends what their goals are, obviously. So everyone has different goals and ambitions. They might want to be just a sole trader. That's fine. That's all good. I was already early days. I wanted something bigger. So we were chasing these big dreams, chasing these big projects. We were trying to do as much as possible, which meant I was trying to do as much as possible and was burning out. And you can only do one thing at once. So if I was on the computer, something was getting missed, something was getting sacrificed. So that is obviously, at the time, my partner didn't have kids back then, so it was just that. And then other things is your obvious things like your personal health. Like I didn't have time to go to the gym or go for a run because I was too busy trying to just get stuff done on the computer, get that quote back, respond to emails, like dealing with dealing with other bigger builders and project managers where they're on the computer all day. You don't have that luxury because you're on the tools all day. So it can take, a good 24 hours to respond to an email. That's just something so small like that, but it actually makes a massive difference. It really does. So having that, and then, the sacrifice of, I guess it's just all the family things that, you don't really... You're so busy and you're so driven that you don't really think about it at the time until, 7 years down the track, and then you get out of that rut and you can reflect on what's going on and you can look back and think, fuck, what a horrible person I was, or like what a not toxic,
what a warped sense of reality we had during a certain period in time.
Yeah, and you really don't know what it's like, or you don't know what it's like until you're out of it and you can reflect. And so. To answer how do you get out of that? There's many reasons. There's many things to do. Obviously, a business coach is one, and trying to get really clear on that, clear on goals, clear on direction. What are you trying to do? Let's hone in on that. Getting your systems right. Then you've got the hardest part is getting good people into the place.
And if you work on developing the company culture and empowering people, and you give it some thought and attention.
Yeah. And I will touch on that.
It may not be as arduous as we could think.
That's right. And it's not it doesn't get easier as you go along. Your challenges and the things that cause you all of this, they're just different. That's all. So I still get stressed out. I feel like I'm a really good problem solver, and I've got a really good ability to handle stress and the chaos, because I actually really like the chaos. I get off on this chaos. I welcome good chaos. But it's the problems that they're still there. It's just in a different scale and a different level. But in saying that, obviously being able to now reflect and look at that, it's the partner or the family that get impacted the most, and reflecting on it, it's just wow, I wish I knew what I did now back then, but you just don't. The reality is you don't. So
I'm going to give you a moment to think about this one, but we're going to tie it up a little bit. In one sentence, define success for me. Your version of success.
Yep. I can only speak for experience. The biggest difference, and I honestly say this, the biggest difference is getting clear on the goals and what you're trying to achieve. That is, hands down, when you put that on paper and you look at that and then you go, okay, I want that. How do I get that? You set some smaller goals and you move the needle forward until you've reached that goal. So, if you're someone that you're not really sure how to get out of this rut or to see success, it's set clear goals and have a clear direction of what you're trying to do.
Dale Armstrong, I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's good.